All right, hello everybody, and welcome here to the Sports Talk Network, and welcome here to a video that's political. I know I do these once in a while, and yours once in a while. Here just talking about, as of now, how things look for the 2020 presidential race. Of course, all the lists of people that are and have already announced their candidacy for president. On the Democratic side, to try to win the nomination to face President Trump in the general election. And also, I just want to give my quick thoughts in regards to the Mueller investigation and the Mueller report, and it's somewhat exonerating President Trump and non-collusion with Russia in regards to the 2018 presidential election. I don't think there was. I think people are just being bitter in that regard, and it's over. Now it's time to just move on. But the Dems want just like the Republicans want to. It was the other way around, right? Both sides are babies. So, and again, that is just what that is. So, not too much to really share there. All right. So, as of right now, we have 20 people that are running on the Republican side. We have Cory Booker, 49, senator from New Jersey, former mayor of Newark. He says, I believe that we can build a country where no one is forgotten, no one is left behind, where we see the facts of our leaders on television and feel pride, not shame. You'd be one of the most gifted in the field, running on political. I could recall President Obama's 2008 campaign. He enjoys a vast fundraising base thanks to long-standing connections to donors around the country. Signature issues. He has been one of the leaders in the Senate on criminal justice reform, but his appeal would most likely center on his call for unify the country. The next contender, our official contender, who is running on the Democratic side, Pete Buttigieg, mayor of South Bend, Indiana, military veteran. I launched a presidential exploratory committee because it is a season for boldness, and it is time to focus on the future. He began to draw national notice after delivering an essay that counseled Democrats on how to recover from their defeats in 2006 from the 2016 election. Has embarked on a long, short campaign that may test the appeal of a youth profile over the more traditional qualifications. And the signature issues has stressed its generational identity and called for policies on issues like climate change and economic opportunity. Next up here, Lorena Castro, former housing secretary, former mayor of San Antonio. I'm running for president because it's time for new leadership. It's time for new energy. Opted out of challenging Senator Ted Cruz for the Senate 2018 midterm elections. Once a rising political star, struggled to find a role during the Trump administration. Money could be an issue, especially if former Representative Beto O'Rourke, a small donor, also mounts a bid, which I've been hearing that to be the case. And Signature Issues has emphasized a platform of universal pre-kindergarten, Medicare for all, and immigration reform. So, and again, the story was April 9th, 2019 updated. So, John Delaney, former congressman from Maryland, former businessman. I think I'm the right person for the job, but not enough people know who I was or still know who I am. He was elected to the House in 2012 as a pragmatic idealist in his telling, has been running aggressively since 2017, has already visited every county in Iowa, though it's unclear if he has improved his long-shot prospects. And Signature Issues has pitched himself a bipartisan problem solver, but has also endorsed liberal causes like universal health care. Yeah, your first female candidate, she certainly is looking in a different way. Tulsi Gabbard, Congresswoman from Hawaii. I lived there for 4 years, and an Army National Guard veteran. I was an Army veteran, so I have that connection. There are a lot of challenges that are facing the American people, and I'm concerned about it, and I want to help solve it. Support of Bernie Sanders in the 2016 primaries has drawn condemnation for meeting with Syria's President Bashar al-Assad, whose regime has been accused of using chemical weapons against civilians, has apologized for her history of anti-gay sentiment and her past work for an anti-gay advocacy group. Her signature issue: opposition to American military intervention overseas, including in countries like Syria. Kristen Gillibrand, Senator from New York, former Congresswoman. I'm going to run for president of the United States because as a young mom, I'm going to fight for other people's kids as I would fight for my own. I was once a congresswoman from a conservative House district with possible positions to match, has transformed herself into a progressive champion of President Trump's Washington, becoming one of the Senate's leading liberal voices. Her signature issue has long placed women's equality and opportunity at the center of her policy agenda. Amelia Harris, Senator from California, former Attorney General of California, former San Francisco District Attorney. Yeah. I believe our country wants and needs some leadership that provides a vision of the country in which everyone could see themselves. She would bring a star of power and history-making potential to the race that few other Democrats can match. One of few new Democrats to join the Senate after 2016, quickly drew notice for her tough questioning of President Trump's cabinet nominees and later his Supreme Court nominee, Brett M. Kavanaugh. Her signature issues: unveiled middle-class tax cut legislation last fall and has championed a liberal civil rights agenda in the Senate. John Hickenlooper, former governor of Colorado, former mayor of Denver. I've proven again and again I can bring people together to produce the progressive change Washington has failed to deliver. A political moderate with a record of success in a purple state. A former geologist who struck it with rich when he opened a brewery in Denver, if I can speak. Will probably cast himself as someone who can attract support from a broad coalition, which some of his victories entail cutting deals with Republican business establishments. Signature issues has stressed his record on consensus building around issues like expanding Medicaid, gay rights, and gun control. Jay and Seeley, Governor of Washington State, former congressman. I'm running for president because I'm the only candidate who will make defeating climate change our nation's #1 priority. A two-term governor known for his environmental policies has become one of the party's most forceful climate advocates, calling on Democrats to embrace a green energy jobs program. And his signature issues has made climate a centerpiece of his agenda as governor and as a national figure, campaigning widely in the midterm elections on a message of creating renewable energy jobs. Amy Klobuchar, senator from Minnesota, former county Minnesota attorney. It is time to organize, time to galvanize, time to take back our democracy. Became a hero to many Democrats for his stern, cool questioning of Brett Kavanaugh during his confirmation hearings, has called for Democrats to focus on reclaiming the swing states in the middle of the country. Signature issues has championed legislation to combat the opioid crisis and drug addiction, and to address the cost of prescription drugs. Wayne Messium, mayor of Minnesota, former college football champion. America belongs to all of us. The promise of America belongs to all of us. That's why I'm going to be running for president, to be your champion. Defeated a long-term incumbent to become history's first black mayor, has taken a progressive stance on guns, immigration, and environmental issues. A first-generation American born to Jamaican parents, he is hoping to tap into the Caribbean American community to help fuel his long shot bid. His signature issue has proposed canceling the more than 1.5 trillion in student debt owed by 44 million Americans. All right, let me just see where we are. All right, Vito O'Rourke, who is now running, former congressman from Texas, 2018 Senate candidate. This is going to be a positive campaign that seeks to bring out the very best from every single one of us and seeks to unite the divided country. Became a celebrity of the Democratic politics in the Trump age and narrowly lost to Senator Ted Cruz in 2018. Has delivered a message of national unity and red state liberalism via constant social media live streaming to voters inside and outside Texas. Ending success in 2020 would draw from his viral appeal, particularly to younger Democrats and from the small donor fundraising army it has earned. His signature issue has focused on immigration reform, marijuana legislation, and rural hospital access. Tim Ryan, congressman from Ohio, former congressional staffer. I watched the American dream slip through the fingers of many Americans. It's time for us to start building the America we deserve. Joined Congress at age 29 and has positioned himself as a voice for blue-collar voters in the Midwest. Challenged Nancy Pelosi for House Minority Leader after the 2016 election, winning 63 votes to her 134. Once an opponent of abortion rights, gradually reversed his position and announced in 2015 he considered abortion a personal choice. Signature issues or enforcing trade deals, punishing Chinese currency manipulation, and unions' rights and workforce development. Bernie Sanders, senator from Vermont, former congressman. The only way we will win this election and create a government and economy that will work for all is with the grassroots movement, the likes of which has never been seen in American history. A self-described Democratic Socialist was the runner-up in the 2016 Democratic primary, would begin a second White House race with a more extensive organization in waiting than any other candidate in the Democratic Party, might face difficulties retaining the level of support he enjoyed in what was effectively a head-to-head race against Hillary Clinton. Signature issues, Medicare for all, free college tuition, and controlling the influence of, as he calls them, the billionaires. Eric Swalwell, Congressman from California, the biggest question that any candidate should ask themselves is, can you make a difference for the people who you serve? And I believe I could. At a growing national profile, thanks to his popularity as a cable news guest, as a member of the House Judiciary and Intelligence Committees, could have a high-profile presence on issues like impeachment and the Russian investigation. Signature Issues has stressed his experience as a prosecutor to investigate the Trump administration, proposed funding for innovation in medical research, push for a national ban on assault weapons. Elizabeth Warren, senator from Massachusetts, former Harvard professor. It's time for women to go to Washington and fix our broken government, and that includes a woman at the top. Has done some of the most extensive preparation for a presidential run, attempted to dispatch questions about her Native American heritage by releasing the results of her DNA test. Of a DNA test, that effort raised questions about her readiness for a national bid, her signature issues, income inequality, and what she says is a middle class under attack from big corporations and political corruption. Marianne Williamson, self-help author, New Age lecturer. We need a moral and spiritual awakening in the country. Nothing short of that is adequate to fundamentally change the patterns of our political dysfunction. The author of more than a dozen self-help and spiritual books, ran for Congress as an independent in 2014 and lost, championed the rights of gay men with AIDS, founding a charity that now supplies meals for people with serious illnesses. Signature Issues has proposed $100 billion in salary with $10 billion to be distributed annually over a decade for economic and education projects. And last but not least, Andrew Yang, former tech executive who founded an economic development nonprofit. Universal basic income is an old idea, but it's an old idea that right now is relevant because of what we're experiencing in society, he says. He's running a long shot campaign on a proposal to establish a universal basic income funded by the government. That drawn some media attention for his highlighting tech issues like robots and artificial intelligence. Central issue establishing a universal basic income of $1,000 per month for all Americans. Likely to run Joe Biden, former Vice President. Vice President Biden, Steve Bullock, Seth Moulton. People who could run: Stacey Abrams, Michael Bennett, Bill de Blasio, Howard Schultz, Larry Hogan, John Kasich would be interesting. And there, so that's our list of people. And for the ones that are running, I think Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, I think would be leading out the gates in regards to support likelihood. Beto O'Rourke, Beto O'Rourke, and who else? Dang it. So Vice President Biden does finally officially make a decision he has to run. Him and Bernie Sanders, I think, would be the go-getters lead out of the gate. It might be a race between those two all the way to the end. Not to say any of the women don't have a chance. Like I said, I was talking about Elizabeth Warren, but I figure it's going to be Sanders and Biden if he does run. Also, be interesting to see how the Democrats try to rebuild and have tried to rebuild since 2016 in regards to their own party and their own dysfunction there. I think both parties are not to that, but all in all, it's going to be interesting to see how this all turns out. But it is what it is, and whoever they are, and whoever wins, whoever comes out of that mess as they battle and beat up each other, will have to then face the current champion, the current reigning defending president, who is the president, President Trump, Donald Trump. I still do hope that Dwayne Johnson runs. Have The Rock, and The Rock wins, and you have The Rock versus Donald Trump. Two WWE Hall of Famers, or one's going to be a future Hall of Famer at some point, finally put in the WWE Hall of Fame, and then Donald Trump, who is one. So, or who is already in the WWE Hall of Fame. But either way, I do probably still see President Trump winning re-election. I also have seen bills being put on the floor of the Senate of them getting rid of the Electoral College and it being that way. I don't think that'll ever pass, but I respect people's opinion in that regard. So yeah, I don't do political videos all the time. Once in a while, I just give my quick thoughts in regards to who I think should be, leading out of the clubhouse, who could be a dark horse, this and that, of who runs and who currently is running. But I just wanted to share that little information for each and every one of them so you can learn a little bit more about them, though I'm sure you've already researched or will be researching. But anyways, hope you all have a great rest of your day. Enjoy your weekend. Happy Easter if you do celebrate. But as always, take care.